संसारदावा नललीढलोका त्राणाय कारुण्य घना घनत्वम् प्राप्तस्य कल्याण गुणार्णवस्य वन्दे गुरो श्रीचरणारविन्दम् महाप्रभु की तनृत्य गीता वादित्यमाद्रान् मनसोरसेना रोमाञ्चकम्पाश्रुतरङ्गभाजो वन्दे गुरो श्रीचरणारविन्दम् श्रीविग्रहाराधननित्यनाम्नां शृङ्गारतान्मन्दिरमार्जनार्दो युक्तस्य भक्तांश्च निनुञ्जतोऽपि वन्दे गुरो श्रीचरणारविन्दम् चतुर्विधः श्रीभगवत्प्रसादो स्वाद्वन्नतृप्तान् हरिभक्तसङ्गान् कृत्वैव तृप्तिं भजता सदैव वन्दे गुरो श्रीचरणारविन्दम् श्रीराधिका माधवयोरपार माधुर्यलीला गुणरूपनाम्ना प्रतिक्षण स्वान्तनलोलुपस्य वन्दे गुरो श्रीचरणारविन्दम् वन्दे गुरो श्रीचरणारविन्दम् वन्दे गुरो श्रीचरणारविन्दम् निकुञ्जयो न रतिकेलिसिद्धै यायालिभिर्युक्तिरपेक्षणीया तत्रार्दिदाक्षान्ततिवल्लभस्य वन्दे गुरो श्रीचरणारविन्दम् साक्षाद्धरित्वेन समस्तशास्त्रे उक्तस्तथा भाव्यत एव सद्भिः किन्तु प्रभोर्या प्रिय एव तस्य वन्दे गुरो श्रीचरणारविन्दम् यस्य प्रसादात् भगवत्प्रसादो यस्य प्रसादात् न गति कुतोऽपि यस्य ध्यायन्तु वंस्तस्य यशस्त्रीसन्ध्यं वन्दे गुरो श्रीचरणारविन्दम् वन्दे गुरो श्रीचरणारविन्दम् वन्दे गुरो श्रीचरणारविन्दम् कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामिनिति नामिने सरस्वती देवी गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्यादेशतारिणे जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैता गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद श्री Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare. Nitai Gaurango, Nitai Gaurango, Nitai Gaurango, Gaura Hari. Nitai Gaurango, Nitai Gaurango, Nitai Gaurango, Gaura Hari. Jaya Radha Nila Madhav, Radha Nila Madhav, Radhe Jaya Gauranitai, 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 Jaya Gauranitai, Jaya 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 Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Jaya Prabhupada. Jaya Jaya Gurudev, 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 Jaya Jaya Gurudev, Jaya Jaya Gurudev. Nitai Gaura Hari Bol,
Ananta Koti Vaishnava Ki Jai, Nama Acharya Shri Harikasa Koti Jai. Previously called Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda, Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaura Bhaktavinda Ki Jai, Shri Radha Krishna Gopa Gopinath Shama Kund Radha Kund Giri Govardhan Ki Jai, Shri Bhagavumi Vrindavan Dham Ki Jai, Shri Navadvip Mayapur Dham Ki Jai, Purushottam Chaitanya Jagannath-puri Dham Ki Jai, Shri Ayodhya Dham Ki Jai, Ganga Mai Ki Jai, Yamuna Mai Ki Jai, Bhakti Devi Ki Jai, Tulsi Devi Ki Jai, Samavrita Bhaktavinda Ki Jai, Harinama Sankirtana Ki Jai, Nitai Gaura Premanande. All glory to the Son of the Lord.
नमो नमः तुलसी कृष्ण प्रेयसी नमो नमः भज राधा कृष्ण सेवा पाओ हे अभिलाषी राधा लसी कृष्ण प्रेयसी नमो नमः जे तुम्हार शरण लो तार वांछा पूर्ण हो जे तुम्हार कृपा कोरी कोरो तारे वृंदावनवासी कृपा कोरी मोर ए अभिलाष विलास कुंजे दियो वास नयने हेरिबो सदा युगल रूप राशि नयने हे निवेदन धरो सखीरणुगत कोरो सेवाधिकार दिए करो निज दासी सेवा हे निवेदन धरो सखीरनुगत खोरो श्री राधा गोविंद प्रेमे दीन कृष्ण दासे कोय से जन मोर होय श्री राधा गोविंद प्रेमे सदा ये न भासी श्री राधा गोविंद प्रेमे सदा ये न भासी तुलसी कृष्ण प्रेयसी नमो पापानि ब्रह्महत्यादिकानि च तानि तानि प्रणश्यन्ति प्रदक्षिण पदे पदे Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. जय तुलसी महारानी, जय तुलसी महारानी, जय तुलसी महारानी, जय तुलसी महारानी, जय जय वृंदे देवी, जय वृंदे देवी, जय वृंदे देवी, जय वृंदे देवी, जय 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 प्रभुपाद, 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 जय जय प्रभुपाद, जय 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 गुरुदेव, 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 जय जय गुरुदेव, जय नित्य गौर हरि बोल, हरि बोल, हरि बोल, नित्य गौर हरि बोल, नित्य तुलसी महारानी की जय। वृंदाय तुलसी देव्याय प्रियाय केशवस्य च विष्णुभक्ति पदे देवी सत्यव्रतये नमो नमः। वृंदाय तुलसी देव्याय प्रियाय केशवस्य च विष्णुभक्ति पदे देवी सत्यव्रतये नमो नमः। वृंदाय तुलसीदेव्याय प्रियाय केशवस्य च विष्णुभक्ति पदे देवी सत्यव्रतये नमो नमः। भक्ति देवी तुलसी महारानी की जय।
Oh, Tulasi, in the love of Krishna, I bow down before you again and again. My desire still the service of Sri Radha and Krishna. Wherever Krishna please have mercy upon him and make him a resident of Vrindavana. My desire also grant me residence in the precious groves of Shiva and Davanatam. Thus within my vision I shall behold beautiful paths of Radha and Krishna. I beg you to make me follow Kara dance of the virgin. Please give me the privilege devotional service and make me own maid servant. This very fallen lowly servant of Krishna praise. May I always swim in the love Shri Radha and Govinda. Srimati Tulsi Maharani ki. There are 10 fences in the matter of chanting holy names that should be avoided, and they are as follows. 1. To blaspheme the devotees of deities alive for propagating the holy name of the Lord. 2. To consider the name of the demigod Lord Shiva or Brahma to be equal to independent name Lord Vishnu. 3. To disobey the order of spiritual master. 4. To blaspheme the Vedic literature or to pursue the Vedic version. 5. To consider the glorious chanting Hare Krishna to be imagination. 6. To give some interpretation to the holy name of the Lord. 7. To commit sinful activities and strength of chanting holy name. 8. To consider chanting Hare Krishna one of the auspicious ritualistic activities. Offering the Veda the fruitive activities, karma, kanda. 9. To instruct a faithless person about glory holy name. 10. To not complete faith in the chanting holy name. And to maintain material attachments in understanding. So many instructions on this matter. It is also an offense to inattentive while chanting. Every devotee claims to Vaishnava and these 10 senses. You have quickly achieve desired success. Krishna Prema. Now let us offer most humble obeisances on all the Vaishnava devotees of the Lord. They are just like trees.
In your full compassion for the fallen conditioned souls. Panchakal Vaishnavecha, Patana Bhavane, Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha, Vaishnava Thakur Ki Jai.
Shri Chaitanya Shikshastakam ki jai. Cheto Darpana Marjanam Pavamahadavagni Nirvapanam Shriya Kairava Chantrika Vitaranam Vidyavatu Jivanam Anandam Buddhivardhanam Pratipadam Purnamita Sadhanam Sarvatama Snapanam Param Vijayate Shri Krishna Sankirtanam Nam Namakari Bahuda Nija Sarva Shaktis Tatra Pita Niyamita Smaranena Kalaha Etadishi Tava Kripa Bhagavam Mamati Turudeva Midisham Yahajani Nanuragaha Trinata Pisuni Chena Tarora Pisa Ishnuna Amanina Manadena Kirtaniya Sataharihi Na Thanam Na Chanam Na Sundarim Kavitam Va Jagadisha Kamaye Mama Jammani Jammanishware Pavata Bhaktir Haituki Toyi Ainanda Tanuja Kinkaram Patitam Mam Vishame Bhavam Puta Kripaya Tava Pada Pankaja Sthita Duri Satisham Vichintaya Nayanam Karatashuru Tadaya Vatanam Katkata Rudaya Gira Purakai Nichtam Vapokata Tava Nama Kahane Bhavishati Yuga itam nimishena chakshusha pravisha itam Shunya itam jagat sarvam govinda virahena me Ashilishava padratam pinnastumam Adarshanam marmhatam karotuva Yatha tatha va vidathatu lampato matprana nathatu se eva naparaha Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare 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 Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Shri Chaitanya Shikshastakam ki jai.
Glory
to Shri Krishna Sankirtana, which cleanses the heart of all the dust accumulated for years, and the extinct fire of conditional life, for repeated birth and death. This Sankirtana is the prime benediction of humanity at large, because it spreads the rays of benediction moon. It is the life of all transcendent knowledge. It increases ocean transcendent bliss, and enables us to fully taste the nectar for which always anxious. O my Lord,
your holy name alone
and all benedictions human beings. Thus you have hundreds of millions of names like Krishna and Govind. In these transcendental names you have vested all your transcendental energies.
There are not even hard
hard
and
of
fast
us
rules
to
for
chanting
chanting
these
these
names.
names.
O my Lord, out of kindness you enable us to easily approach you by holy names. But I am so unfortunate, I have no attraction for them. We should chant holy name the Lord in humble state of mind, thinking oneself lower than the straw in the street, one should be more taller than a tree, devoid of all sense of false prestige, and should be ready to offer all respect to others. In such a state of mind, we can chant holy name the Lord constantly. O Almighty Lord, I have no desire to accumulate wealth, neither desire beautiful women, neither want any number of followers. I only want your cause devotional service, birth after birth.
O
Son
Son
of
of
Marananda,
Nanda, Krishna,
I'm your eternal servitor. Yet somehow I follow the ocean of birth and death. Please pick him up for this ocean of death and place me at one Adam to lotus feet. Oh my Lord, while my eyes bedecked with tears of love, flowing constantly when I chant your holy name. While my voice choke up, when I hear my body stand and recitation of your name. O Govinda, feeling your separation and constant moment to be like a great millennium. Tears are flowing from eyes like torrents of rain, and I feel all vacant in the world in your absence. I know no one but Krishna is my Lord, and he shall remain so if he handles me roughly by his embrace, or makes me broken heart by not being present before me. He is completely free to do anything and everything, for he is always my worshipful Lord, unconditionally.
Shri Chaitanya Sastakam. Shri Guru Pranama prayers ki
Om Jnana Timirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshumritam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manopishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Soyam Rupa Katamahyam Tadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sakana Ragnatam Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadhuitam Savadutam Parijana Saitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Shakham Vitamscha Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Pristhaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Iti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nivishesha Shunyavadi Pajatatesha Tarine Namo Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Pristhaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Iti Namine Shri Varshabhanavi Devi Daitaya Kripaptaye Krishna Sambandha Vijnana Daine Prabhavin Namaha Madhuryo Jala Premadya Shri Rupanuga Bhaktita Shri Gaura Karana Shakti Vigrahaya Namostate Namaste Gauravani Shri Murtaye Dina Darine Rupanuga Viruddha Pasiddhanta Dvanta Harine Namo Gorakishoraya Sashat Vairagya Murtaye Vipalambara Sambodhe Padam Pujayate Namaha Namo Bhakti Vinodaya Sachidananda Namine Gaura Shakti Swarupaya Rupanuga Varayate Gaurarya Bhava Bhumeswam Nirdishta Sajana Priyaha Vaishnava Sarvabhauma Shri Jagannathaya Te Namaha Vancha Kalpatarupishcha Kripa Sindhu Bhevacha Patitanam Pavnebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Namo Mahavadanyaya Krishna Prema Padayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namne Gauratishe Namaha Panchatattvatmakam Krishnam Bhaktarupa Sarupakam Bhaktavataram Bhaktakyam Namami Bhakta Shaktikam Hey Krishna Karna Sindho Dinabandho Jagapate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostate Jayatam Srato Pango Mamamanda Matirgati Matsarvasva Padambojo Radha Madana Mohano Divya Vrindarana Kalpadu Madha Shimadra Nagara Singhasanasto Shimad Radha Shila Govinda Devo Pishtari Bi Sevimano Smarami Shiman Rasarasaram Divam Sivata Tatastita Karsham Venusner Gopir Gopinata Shri Yestunaha Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vishabhanu Sate Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Datara Shivasadi Gaura Bhaktavinda Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Shri Guru Pranama Prayers Ki Jai. Shri Brahma Samhita Ki Jai.
Ishvara Parama Krishna Sachidananda Vigraha Anadyaradi Govinda Sarvakarana Karanam Chintamani Parakara Satmasukha Praviksha Lakshariteshu Suravira Vipalayantam Lakshmi Sahasra Shatasam Brahma Sevimana Govindam Madi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami Venum Konantam Aravinda Talayatasham Parharvatam Samasitam Buddhasundarangam Kantarpakoti Kamaniya Vishesha Shobham Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami Alola Chantakala Savanamare Vamshi Ranangadam Pranayakeli Kalavilasam Shamam Tipanga Lalitam Yata Prakasham Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami Anganyasya Sakalendriya Vittimanti Pashanti Panti Kalayanti Chiram Jaganti Ananda Chimma Satujala Vigrahasya Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami Advaitam Achotam Anadim Anantarupam Adyam Purana Purusham Navayovanam Cha Vedeshu Durabam Adurabam Atma Bhakto Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami Pantastu Koti Shatavasara Sampragami Vayurathapi Manaso Munipangavanan Sopyasti Yapapata Simya Vichinta Tatve Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami Ekopya Sora Chaitum Jagadanta Kotim Yashakti Rasti Jagadanta Chayaya Dantaha Antantarastha Paramanu Chayantarastham Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami Yad Bhava Bhavita Diyo Manuchastateva Samprapya Rupa Mahimasana Yana Pusha Suteryam Eva Nigama Pratithai Stuvanti Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami Ananta Chimmerasa Pratibhavitapi Stabir Eva Rupa Daya Kalabihi Goloka Eva Nivasati Kilatma Bhutto Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami Premanjana Shurutha Bhakti Vilochanena Santa Sateva Hridayeshu Vilokayanti Yam Shama Sundam Achintya Gunaswarupam Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami Ramadi Murtishu Kalanyamena Tishtan Nanavatar Makaro Bhuvaneshu Kintu Krishna Swayam Samabhava Paramapumam Yo Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami.
Krishna, who is known as Govinda, is the supreme Godhead. He has an eternal blissful spiritual body. He is the origin of all, and he has no other origin, and he is the prime cause of all causes.
I worship Govinda, the primeval Lord, the first progenitor who is tending the cows, yielding all desire, in abodes built with spiritual gems, surrounded by millions of purpose trees, always served with great reverence and affection by hundreds of thousands of Lakshmis or Gopis.
I worship Govinda, the primeval Lord, who is adept in playing on his flute, with blooming eyes like lotus petals, with head decked with peacock's feather, with a figure of beauty tinged with the hue of blue clouds, and his unique loveliness charming millions of cupids.
I worship Govinda, the primeval Lord, round whose neck is swinging a garland of flowers beautified with the moon locket, whose two hands are adorned with the flute and jeweled ornaments, who always revels in pastimes of love, whose graceful threefold bending form of Shyamasundara is eternally manifest.
I worship Govinda, the primeval Lord, whose transcendental form is full of bliss, truth, substantiality, and is thus full of the most dazzling splendor. Each of the limbs of that transcendental figure possesses in himself the full-fledged functions of all the organs, and eternally sees, maintains, and manifests the infinite universes, both spiritual and mundane.
I worship Govinda, the primeval Lord, who is inaccessible to the Vedas, but obtainable by pure, unalloyed devotion of the soul, who is without a second, who is not subject to decay, is without a beginning, whose form is endless, who is the beginning and the eternal Purusha, yet he is a person possessing the beauty of blooming youth.
I worship Govinda, the primeval Lord, only the tip of the toe of whose lotus feet is approached by the yogis who aspire after the transcendental and betake themselves to pranayama by drilling the respiration, or by the jnanis who try to find out the non differentiated Brahman by the process of elimination of the mundane extending over thousands of millions of years.
He is an undifferentiated entity, as there is no distinction between potency and the possessor thereof. In his work of creation of millions of worlds, his potency remains inseparable. All the universes exist in him, and he is present in his fullness in every one of the atoms that are scattered throughout the universe at one and the same time. Such is the primeval Lord whom I adore.
I adore the same Govinda, the primeval Lord. In his praise, men who are imbued with devotion sing the mantra suktas told by the Vedas. By gaining their appropriate beauty, greatness, thrones, conveyances, and ornaments.
I worship Govinda, the primeval Lord, residing in his own realm, Goloka, with Radha resembling his own spiritual figure, the embodiment of the ecstatic potency possessed of 64 artistic activities, in the company of her confidant Sakhis, embodiments of the extensions of her bodily form, permeated and vitalized by his ever blissful spiritual rasa.
I worship Govinda, the primeval Lord, who is Shyamasundara, Krishna himself with inconceivable, innumerable attributes, whom the pure devotees see in their heart of hearts with the eye of devotion tinged with the salve of love.
I worship Govinda, the primeval Lord, who manifested himself personally as Krishna and the different avatars in the world in the forms of Radha, Rama, Narsimha, Vamana, etc. as his subjective portions.
Glorification of the Srimad Bhagavatam 1.1.1. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. We can chant. Janmadasya yata nivyadi taratasya tesu vigyaswarat. Tene Brahma Hidaya Adikavaye Muyanti Suryaha. Tejo Varimidam yata vinimayo yata trisargomsha. Satyam Param Dhimahi.
O my Lord, Sri Krishna, son of Vasudeva, O all-pervading personality of Godhead, I offer my respectful obeisances unto you. I meditate upon Lord Sri Krishna because he is the absolute truth and the primeval cause of all causes of the creation, sustenance, and destruction of the manifested universes. He is directly and indirectly conscious of all manifestations, and he is independent because there is no other cause beyond him. It is he only who first imparted the Vedic knowledge unto the heart of Brahmaji, the original living being. By him, even the great sages and demigods are placed into illusion, as one is bewildered by the illusory representations of water seen in fire or land seen on water. Only because of him do the material universes, temporarily manifested by the reactions of the three modes of nature, appear factual although they are unreal. I therefore meditate upon him, Lord Sri Krishna, who is eternally existent in the transcendental abode, which is forever free from the illusory representations of the material world. I meditate upon him, for he is the absolute truth.
Srimad Bhagavatam 1.1.2. You can chant. Dharma Pujita Kaichavutra Prabhu Nimatsaram Satam Vedyam Vastavam Atra Vastu Shivanam Tapotra Mulanam Srimad Bhagavate Mahamuni Prate Kimva Parer Ishvara Sadhyo Vidya Rudyate Cha Vidibhi Susvistakshanat.
Completely rejecting all religious activities which are materially motivated, this Bhagavata Purana propounds the highest truth, which is understandable by those devotees who are fully pure in heart. The highest truth is reality distinguished from illusion for the welfare of all. Such truth uproots the threefold miseries. This beautiful Bhagavatam, compiled by the great sage Vyasadeva in his maturity, is sufficient in itself for God realization. What is the need of any other scripture? As soon as one attentively and submissively hears the message of Bhagavatam, by this culture of knowledge, the Supreme Lord is established within his heart.
Srimad Bhagavatam 1.1.3. Nigama Kalpataror Galitam Phulam Sukamukha Amrita Gaya Samyutam Pibata Bhagavatam Rasamaya Muhura Horasika Bhuvi.
expert and thoughtful men relish Srimad Bhagavatam, the mature fruit of the desired tree of Vedic literatures. It emanated from the lips of Sri Shukadeva Goswami. Therefore, this fruit has become even more tasteful, although its nectarian juice was already relishable for all, including liberated souls.
Okay, so next. You have it on board, Dhananjay? Shinvatam Sakuta Krishna Punya Shravana Kirtana Hiryantak Sto Badrani Vidunati Suhitsutam Nasta Prayesu Abhadresu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Tamasloke Nitya Bhagavati Naistiki Tadarajas Bhavo Kamalo Bhadashche Sheteta Kamitam Slipam Sattva Kusivati Eva Pasanamanso Bhagavad Bhakti Yoga Bhagavad Tattva Vijnana Mukta Sangasya Jayate Vidyate Hridaya Grantis Chijante Sarva Samsaya Shiyante Shashisarmani Vishta Evatmanishware. Okay, so you have the English?
To hear about Krishna from Vedic literatures or to hear from him directly through the Bhagavad Gita is itself righteous activity. And for one who hears about Krishna, Lord Krishna, who is dwelling in everyone's heart, acts as a best wishing friend and purifies the devotee who constantly engages in hearing of him.
In this way, a devotee naturally develops his dormant transcendental knowledge. As he hears more about Krishna from the Bhagavatam, from the devotees, he becomes fixed in the devotional service of the Lord.
Very good.
By development of devotional service, one becomes freed from the modes of passion and ignorance, and thus material lust and avarice are diminished.
Thank you.
When these impurities are wiped away, the candidate remains steady in his position of pure goodness, becomes enlivened by devotional service, and understands the science of God perfectly.
Go ahead.
Thus, Bhakti Yoga serves the hard knot of material affection and enables one to come to the stage of asamshayam, samagram, understanding of the supreme absolute truth personality of Godhead. Therefore, only by hearing from Krishna or from his devotee in Krishna consciousness can one understand the science of Krishna.
Very good. Thank you. So today we're hearing from the Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 3, Chapter 14, verse number 31. Yeah. Saviditvatva. No, I'm sorry. Saviditvatva varyayas tam nibandham vikarmani natvadristaya rahasi taya to pavivesasi sa he viditva understanding ata thereupon paryaya of the wife tam that nibandhanam obstinacy vikarmani in the forbidden act natva offering obeisances distaya unto worshipable fate rahasi in a secluded place taya with her ata thus upavivesha lay he certainly Understanding. Translation by His Divine Grace, Sri Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. Understanding his wife's purpose, he was obliged to perform the forbidden act, and thus, after offering his obeisances unto the worshipful fate, he lay with her in a secluded place. Now, this is a very significant verse. All of them are significant, of course. But this is very interesting because it shows how even great devotees can become bewildered by lust, anger, and greed, but especially lust. And although they know better, they still make a mistake, a catastrophic mistake, in fact. Okay, who would like to read the purport?
Purport. It appears from the talks of Kashyapa with his wife that he was a worshipper of Lord Shiva, and although he knew that Lord Shiva would not be pleased with him for such a forbidden act, he was obliged to act by his wife's desire, and thus he offered his obeisances unto fate. He knew that the child born of such untimely sexual intercourse would certainly not be a good child, but could not protect himself because he was too obligated to his wife. In a similar case, however, when Thakura Haridasa was tempted by a public prostitute at the dead of night, he avoided the allurement because of his perfection in Krishna consciousness. That is the difference between a Krishna conscious person and others. Kashyapa Muni was greatly learned and enlightened, and he knew all the rules and regulations of systematic life, yet he failed to protect himself from the attack of sex desire. Thakura Haridasa was not born of a Brahmana family, nor was he himself Brahmana, yet he could protect himself from such an attack due to his being Krishna conscious. Thakura Haridasa used to chant the holy name of the Lord 300,000 times daily.
Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol. This is serious information because this shows the genesis and eventually the accomplishment of breaking rules of Krishna consciousness. How is it possible? Even of sometimes the most advanced people. It's called negligence, not being very meticulous about following all the rules and regulations that one promises at the moment of initiation. So, no gambling, no meat eating, no intoxication, no illicit sex, and chanting minimum 16 good rounds a day, taking only prasadam, going on Sankirtan, preaching. All these things are absolutely necessary to maintain one's spiritual life. But we can see it's possible that even a person, after making such vows and promising in front of the Guru and Krishna, may break them. It's a tragedy. It's unbelievable that one would want to do such a thing. Now, what can protect us? That's the question we should ask. Well, the example of Haridas Thakur. He's always chanting Hare Krishna. That means he's always associating with Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who's not different than his name. This is what we have to understand. When you chant the name of Krishna, Krishna is present. He's with you. He, in every way, will encourage you. But if we don't chant properly, that means not paying attention when we chant, or not chanting at all, then it's very easy to fall down. Very, very easy. And one will, even if they're a very advanced person, they will fall down because their negligence, they're neglecting to do what they're required to do on a daily basis. So we have to be very careful with what's called vows of initiation. You don't have to guess what they are. They're very simple. And if we simply follow them, we're not going to have any problems. But if we don't, then we will become entangled in different ways. Someone will say, oh, well, I don't engage in illicit sex. But you'll get entangled in another way. You get angry. You think evil thoughts. You want to get revenge. There's hundred, let's say, different ways that you can violate your vows of initiation. It's not only what Diti is doing here, which is adamantly or obstinately insisting that her husband break the rules and regulations. So we have to be very careful of lust, anger, greed, illusion, and lust, anger, greed, illusion, and so forth. These different, very negative qualities, because any one of them can make us fall down. Any one of them. Lust, anger, greed, those are the three big ones. And then you have illusion, and what are the other two? I forget. Anyway, I'll remember in a second. Okay, so once we become aware of the seriousness of a vow that you take in front of Guru and Krishna and devotees, then you become very careful. If you think, oh, it's just another little thing I agreed to, but it's, no big thing, then you're going, see, it's very easy to find many reasons to break the principles, but it's much more significant to find reasons why we should keep the principles. So this lust, anger, greed, these are the three doors going to hell. Add on to that illusion and negligence of following the rules and regulations and so forth, and we will be completely under the grip of Maya. And although we want to follow the rules and regulations, it's like there's some kind of supernatural force pushing us and pushing us and pushing us to break them. Okay, so this is explained in Bhagavad Gita also. Let's take a look at that. Where it says, Brahmabhutam prasanatma na sochati na kakshati samaksarvesu bhutesu Madbhaktim Labhate Param. One who is thus transcendently situated at once realizes the supreme Brahman and becomes fully joyful. He never laments or desires to have anything. He is equally disposed toward every living entity. In that state, he attains pure devotional service unto me. So this is 18th chapter, 54th verse. Let's take a look at that. 18th chapter, 54th verse, Bhagavad Gita. Who would like to read? Go ahead.
One who is thus transcendently situated at once realizes the Supreme Brahman and becomes fully joyful. He never laments or desires to have anything. He is equally disposed toward every living entity. In that state, he attains pure devotional service unto me. Purport. To the impersonalist, achieving the Brahma Bhuta stage, becoming one with the Absolute, is the last word. But for the personalist or pure devotee, one who has to go still further to become engaged in pure devotional service. This means that one who is engaged in pure devotional service to the Supreme Lord is already in a state of liberation, called Brahma Bhuta, oneness with the Absolute. Without being one with the Supreme, the Absolute, one cannot render service unto him. In the Absolute conception, there is no difference between the served and the servitor. Yet, the distinction is there in a higher spiritual sense. In the material concept of life, when one works for sense gratification, there is misery. But in the absolute world, when one is engaged in pure devotional service, there is no misery. The devotee in Krishna consciousness has nothing for which to lament or desire. Since God is full, a living entity who is engaged in God's service in Krishna consciousness becomes also full in himself. He is just like a river cleansed of all dirty water. Because a pure devotee has no thought other than Krishna, he is naturally always joyful. He does not lament for any material loss or aspire for gain, because he is full in the service of the Lord.
Stop right there for a second, please. This is really important if you want to be Krishna conscious. And it says, because a pure devotee has no thought other than Krishna, he is naturally always joyful. This is the litmus test. If you have negative thoughts that enter into the mind, immediately come and read this purport, especially this one point where it says, because a pure devotee has no thought other than Krishna, he is naturally always joyful. He does not lament for any material loss or aspires for gain, because he is full in the service of the Lord. He has no desire for material enjoyment, because he knows that every living entity is a fragmental part and parcel of the Supreme Lord, and therefore eternally a servant. See, that means you know who you are. You're the eternal servant of the Lord. You're not the prosecutor, the person who, prosecutes and kills the person, kills somebody. You're the eternal servant of the Lord. Okay? He He has no desire for material enjoyment because he knows that every living entity is a fragmental part and parcel of the Supreme Lord, and therefore eternally a servant. It's not that he becomes Prabhu and everybody else is Das. He's convinced, he or she is convinced, I'm the eternal servant. He does not see in the material world someone is higher and someone is lower. Higher and lower positions are ephemeral, and a devotee has nothing to do with ephemeral, ephemeral means temporary, appearances and disappearances. This is all very profound information. We should, whenever we feel weak in our determination to follow Krishna consciousness, we should come and read this purport, 1854. It's very important if we want to go back to God. Brahma Bhuta Prasanatma Na Sochiti Na Kangsati. So, one who's really situated in transcendental consciousness realizes what? Na sochati, na kangsati. He doesn't have anything to lament about, and he doesn't have anything to desire. He simply knows who he is. He's the eternal servant of Krishna. So he or she just focuses on that devotional service and not anything else. This service, devotional service, is our connection to Krishna. So what could be better than that? We always should be connected to Krishna. So Dr. Haridas, he was put under severe, very severe temptation. And so was Kashyapa Muni. But Kashyapa Muni acquiesced or fell down. Dr. Haridas did not. Why? Because he never gave up his devotional service to the Lord. So every time the lady that was trying to make Haridas Thakur fall down, he said to her, "Oh, I'm sorry, but I haven't finished my rounds yet. Just wait a little bit longer." Well, that little bit longer meant that there was no break in this chanting of the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. Therefore, there was no way he could fall down. Whereas Kashyapa Muni fell down because he forgot what his real duty was. In Krishna consciousness, we act out of a sense of duty, knowing that our constitutional position is to serve Krishna with love and devotion. That's what our real duty in life is. We don't have any other duty. Our duty is not to punish this one or do this or do that. Our duty is to follow the regulative principles very strictly and attain the state of constant remembrance of who we really are. I'm not a member of this family or that family. I'm the eternal servant of Krishna. So once we're convinced of this and we don't waver in that conviction, we become protected by Krishna. And it'll be very difficult for someone to make us fall down. One time there was a devotee in Berkeley, California. He was his name was Murli. He got initiated. He could not read or write. And he came from a very poor family. He was born in Oakland, California. He was black. And But he became a devotee. So one day he was alone somewhere in Oakland. I don't know what he was doing there. He was definitely not supposed to be there. He was supposed to be doing his service. And he met this person who was his pastor before, who was a Christian minister. And he convinced Murley that the devil was in his chanting beads. And he said, you must throw them away into the garbage can. After he went through the whole process of getting initiated and receiving the beads, and he did it. And then he stopped coming to the temple. So fast forward one day, I saw Murley walking down the street in Berkeley, California. And I called out, I said, hey, Murley, where are you? What are you doing? He said, I'm having some hard times. What did that mean, hard times? He went back to being what he was before. Homeless, sleeping in the street, panhandling, and just basically, lost. So I said, Murley, where are your beads? He said, I met this pastor. He told me my beads were the devil, so I had to throw them away. This is what happens when people are not associating properly with the devotees. What business did he have being alone in Oakland, California, where he was born, where there were so many bad elements and bad people? And instead of walking away from that preacher, he listened to him and finally was convinced and threw away his beads. He went back to all that suffering that he was having before, which was the reason why he wanted to become a devotee in the first place, because he had a place to stay. He could shower every day. He had things to do 24 hours a day. He had nice association, and everybody liked him. I liked him very much. So we see how dangerous it is to have bad association and to forget what our real duty in life is. Our real duty in life is to serve Krishna with under the instructions of the bona fide spiritual masters like Shiksha and Diksha Gurus, and always be free of sokshati and kankshati. Lamentation. Oh, I lost this. Oh, things were going so good and now they're not going so good. Lamenting, feeling sorry for oneself. Instead of counting one's blessings, one is counting one's curses. We should be counting our blessings. Every day I can wake up early in the morning, take a shower, come to Mangala Aarti, hear the class, chant Hare Krishna, dance. What? Those things are nice. They're all very positive. Why would I not want to do it? Only because of what? Sochati and kakshati. Lamentation and hankering for sense gratification. Those are the two big ticket points that keep people from following the regulative principles. Oh, I used to have this, I used to have that. And before I could do this and I could do that. Yeah, you can do that eternally in the material world. Eating, sleeping, mating, and defending. That doesn't solve the problems of life. That doesn't get rid of the Sochati meditation, actually look at all the misery that's going on in this world. Look what's going on in Southern California now, and what happened in Maui. We can go down the list, every week there's a new tragedy, and people are suffering like anything. The weather in Texas, it's so hot. I called up one of my friends and said, yeah, it's about 110 every day. We don't even go out, we just stay in the house. We can't do anything. So, just keep chanting, coming to class, engaging in your free time in Krishna consciousness, and work honestly, and keep always engaged in the service of the Lord. Even though people right next to you might be suffering terribly, you will not be suffering, because you're under the protection of the Lord. That's our best insurance policy. It's not Allstate or this company or that company is going to guarantee you safety. The only safety we have a guarantee of is Krishna. Untiya pratijanihi nami bhakta pranasati. Declare it boldly, O Arjuna, that my devotee will never perish. Okay, now go ahead. You can finish.
He has no desire for material enjoyment because he knows that every living entity is a fragmental part and parcel of the Supreme Lord, and therefore eternally a servant. He does not see in the material world someone as higher and someone as lower. Higher and lower portions are ephemeral, and the devotee has nothing to ephemeral.
That means temporary.
And the devotee has nothing to do with ephemeral appearances or disappearances. For him, stone and gold are of equal value. This is the Brahmabhuta stage, and this stage is attained very easily by the pure devotee. In that stage of existence, the idea of becoming one with the Supreme Brahman and annihilating one's individuality becomes hellish. The idea of attaining the heavenly kingdom becomes a phantasmagoria.
It's like a dream.
And the senses are like serpents whose poison teeth are broken. As there is no fear of a serpent with broken teeth, there is no fear from the senses when they are automatically controlled. The world is miserable for the materially infected person, but for a devotee, the entire world is as good as Vaikuntha, or the spiritual sky. The highest personality in this material universe is no more significant than an ant for a devotee. Such a stage can be achieved by the mercy of Lord Chaitanya, who preached pure devotional service in this age.
So, if you simply follow what's being said in this one purport, you'll go back to Godhead. And you won't be disturbed by anything in the material world. It'll all be like a miracle. Every day, all around you, you'll see people suffering terribly. But you're not suffering because you're following these instructions. So, that's why this one book, Bhagavad Gita, is enough to take you back to Godhead. In fact, this one purport is enough to take you back to Godhead. You see how powerful this Bhagavad Gita is. So this suchati and kankshati, this lamentation and hankering. Hankering means you have these material desires and they won't let you go. And you're always worried about this thing or worried about that thing. And therefore you can't really have any peace of mind. The mind is always disturbed by one thing or another. Why? Because we're not focusing on our vows of initiation. We're not focusing on the quality of our devotional service, the quality of our chanting. Whenever you're in trouble, or you feel through anxiety, whatever, number one, associate with good devotees, or one good devotee. Number two, sit down and begin to chant. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. And don't stop chanting until your fear, anxiety, doubts go away. And they will go away. And chant nicely, you know. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Eventually, you're going to realize the power of the holy name. In the beginning, you say, oh yeah, you chant Hare Krishna, ha 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 ha. No, it's not ha 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 ha. This is the ticket out of the material world. Go back to Godhead. There's nothing else more powerful than the holy name. And this is Lord Chaitanya's special mercy in the age of Kali. Okay, are there any questions or comments?
Hare Krishna Maharaj.
We missed you for 2 days.
Maharaj, as you are saying that how we can evolve as a devotee or our consciousness can evolve, just as I was going through ISKCON Brooklyn, we see a lot of homeless people are.
Yeah, Brooklyn's bad. Very bad.
So how, as a, what I'm trying to say is, when you feel sad for them, you feel why they are wasting this beautiful life, and kind of a little disturbed.
Why, you're trying to think, what can I do to help them?
And I was like, Prabhupada walked all these roads, and he, he has taken basically those kind of people and made them pure devotees.
Why can't I do that?
I did not think that, but I took a step side instead of walking next to them. I have no answer why I did that, but because you have this in the back of the mind that
They're dangerous.
Yeah, to be.
And that's true. Some of them are very dangerous. Well, I used to go out every day with Mahaprasadam to People's Park in Berkeley, California. People's Park in Berkeley, California is one of the most worst places to be. There are all these very crazy people, very crazy, and very sad. They never take a bath. They're always trying to find drugs. It's just horrible. But I used to go every day, and I would distribute prasadam. And I didn't even try and preach to them. They were so far gone, you know. So there was one person who like the lowest of the lowest. He never came for prasadam. So I would always leave 1, 2, 3, 4 plates in case anybody wanted to get some. So eventually this first person who never took prasadam and was like really completely lost, he started eating one of these plates that would leave. Then one day he came up to me and said, he couldn't even speak properly. He said, I want to be Hare Krishna.
I want to be Hare Krishna.
And I said, he said, I want to live with you. Okay? I said, no. He said, what? What? Why you say no? I said, you're not ready. So what do I have to do? So I said, every day when I come with the prasadam, you have to come help me distribute it to the others. He said, oh, you're so mean. I said, no, I'm your best friend. Just listen to what I say. So this went on. Finally, he started taking a shower. They have all these free things in Berkeley for the homeless. He started taking a shower. He stopped taking his drugs. And he would come in every day and helping me. So when they said, so I want to live in the temple. I said, you're not ready. He said, wow, you're so mean. I do everything you say. I said, no, you haven't done everything I said. He said, why don't do? I said, you're not chanting Hare Krishna. So he started chanting Hare Krishna. So anyway, I'm not going to make it a long story. So eventually, he did everything to qualify to live in a temple. He joined the temple. And people were amazed. This guy was really in bad shape. But it happened to be that he came from a very good family, right? A rich family. Anyway, that doesn't mean anything. And then one day he said to me, Prabhu, I want to go in there and see the real Krishna. I said, no, you're not ready. He said, oh man, you're so mean. Why you say I'm not ready? I said, because you're not ready. So what do I have to do? I said, you have to go out on Sankirtan and distribute books. And so he started doing that. He became pretty good at it. So eventually I worked out a deal with him. I said, you give up your government money. In other words, he was getting government money every month. Basically it's called Looney Tune money. It just keeps people connected with nonsense all the time. And he said, but what if I don't have that? He said, I don't have any money. I said, that's right. You're going out of Sankirtan. I will give you some money from the collection that you make. I said, if you do this, then you can go India. So he did it. And he's still in India right now. He learned Sanskrit, initiated. He goes on Sankirtan every day in the streets of Vrindavan. It's like a miracle. You see, so you should never think it's not possible to rehabilitate these type of people. It is possible, but you have to be very patient and you have to be a little firm. Now, if there's 10, maybe 1 will be saved, right? Just like Murli, he was saved, he was initiated, but he went back again. Whereas this one, he was saved eventually, and he's never gone back. It's always, in his service, distributing books and preaching. Okay, so I'll stop right there.
Thank you, madam.
Hare Krishna. Now, as a woman, you have to be careful, right? You can't just assume every homeless person is going to act properly. So, you should never try and do that personally. You should always have the help of senior devotees. Hare Krishna. All glories to Srila Prabhupada ki jai.